Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm finally doing a video on the Blue Angel F-18. This is the Freewing F-18 that I repainted. This was originally a gray scheme. These are the Freewing decals, but painted the airplane. We'll go over that in a second. But I made one upgrade that I wanted to do to my last Hornet, just never did, and that is the landing gear. You see I've got something different going on here. I decided to use E-flite struts, and this is the only way to get them to fit without doing serious modifications. This was bad enough as it was, but anyways, to show you guys how these work. So you have to cut some rather large holes in the foam, the back of the wheel wells. I'm running split doors. These are just little bungees run across here with the original door on the inside and the outside, like previously discussed in my other video, just hinged with Dubro hinges. It's not real pretty in here, so I don't look close. The biggest issue with, let me put the radio down real quick. The biggest issue with running these struts is this shock right here. So when it retracts, if you don't have a 90-degree rotating unit, which you really can't do without totally redoing this mount. So in order to keep things halfway simple, I decided just to use the stock unit. So you see here I had to notch out the corner of the unit, but I also needed to move the strut away from the body while it was retracted. Only way to do that would be to like put a Z-bend in the wire, or I found some retract wires. I don't even know where I got them from, but they have a coil in them, and the coil offsets the pin. The pin's right here, and then the retract pin's over here. So offset it just enough to bring it away from the retract unit. You have to clearance a ton of stuff just everywhere. It's a huge nightmare. It's not easy. And then I have 3D printed hubcaps. These are the Robart 2 1/4. I wish I could run some 2 1/2s, but with as tight as everything is, I just don't think I have room. When these things go in, they almost graze right across this surface here. It's tight. It's super tight. So I added a secondary spring. So if you have an E-flite Hornet, you know that the struts look really cool, but they don't actually do any absorbing of any shocks. So they just collapse all the way when you touch down, which is fine because it keeps it somewhat stable on the ground. But what I did was I put a secondary spring so it starts to have tension here, and then I get all this room for actual shock absorption, and I think it's going to actually work pretty good. We'll find out when I fly it. But so anyways, that's where we're at with the gear. This is a stock nose unit that I actually modified this to extend it out a little bit more. So anyways, we got the white painted inlets, which I think looks pretty cool, with the modified splitters so the air gets through here. So you can't really see in there. But anyways, pretty happy with the model overall. Let me get it flipped back over and we'll talk about the paint job. All right, so here it is. It looks pretty good from 5 or 6 feet. You get up close, you start to see the foam cells. It's not as smooth as my A4 was, and that was by design. That was way too much work. But you still see some pretty cool reflections in it. And like I was telling you earlier, I still have some shock absorption room there, and it's not too unstable. So I don't think it's, I'm sure it'll tip over easily, but honestly, it almost feels more stable than the stock gear, just because those are so narrow. These ones are more like scale, where they're out wider when they're down, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty cool. Looking forward to flying it. It looks pretty sweet. So definitely much better looking than the stock retract units. Oh, there's no battery in it right now. So it actually sits a little bit lower with the battery in it. It's not quite so high, but yep, that's it. Could probably go take it outside real quick, show you in the sunlight. All right, so here it is in the sun. Looks pretty good. I got the color is much better than it was on the A4. The A4 was kind of too dark. And this looks about right. So, pretty happy with it. Definitely like the gear. So, I'll show you guys the paints here in just a second. So here's the paints that I used. Like all other foamies, I left all the decals on it. I did 3 coats of polyurethane, sanded it, then did I think 3 coats of primer. And this is the primer that I used, the Rust-Oleum Automotive, which is a decent primer, but you still have to wet sand it. It doesn't dry sand very well at all. So 3 coats of that. I mean, I could have gone farther, made it even smoother. Would have seen less foam texture, but it is what it is. I didn't want to freak out about it if I messed it up, so I didn't want to put. I'd put so many hours in that A4, it wasn't even funny. So this one wasn't too bad. This was more of a standard repaint, but it looks a lot better than a stock one. So what I did was, because the Rust-Oleum navy blue has too much purple in it, it's a little too dark. So what I actually sprayed with first was this Behr gloss inked. That's the color of it, gloss inked. This actually matches Model Master's Blue Angel Blue almost exactly, which to me really isn't the right color. It's got a lot of gray in it. Doesn't look right. It's like kind of grayish and purpley. I don't know. It's kind of a weird blue. But I tried this first. I didn't like the way it looked, so Walmart didn't have any 2X navy blue, which is what I used on the A4. So I bought the regular gloss navy blue. And what I did was I used this as a base and did one nice wet coat of this. And this airplane has no clear coat on it. This is all the natural sheen from the paint. And this stuff is super glossy for not having a clear on it. The only problem is this paint literally takes like 2 days to dry to where you can touch it. It takes forever, and that's in a warm environment, so be aware of that. But I think the color, because this is kind of an opaque paint, it doesn't cover very well, so you get one nice even coat on it, and it's just enough to darken up this and give it the right hue, and it worked out pretty well. And this is the Gloss Marigold, which is the yellow color that I used. It's like a deep yellow, which is closer to the right color. And as you can see, it matches the decals pretty well, so pretty happy with how it turned out. Like I said, it's not perfect, but this is actually the cockpit for my first F-18. I just took the plastic off and painted the pilot and put the new canopy on from the new one. So anyways, that's it. I hope you guys like it, and we're gonna be getting some flight video of this airplane in about a week and a half with a new paint job. You guys saw it fly before in the gray scheme. So pretty soon we're going to an event in St. George, Utah, and we're gonna fly it there and hopefully get lots of pictures and a few videos of it. So hopefully the gear works out well, and yep, should be pretty cool. Should look great in the air with that glossy finish. So all right, guys, hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one.